are a whole lot of lies that narcissists tell, but here are lies that actually keep you with that narcissist. Lie number one. Lie number one is the biggie, the biggie, the biggie. And that is they'll change. And I know this so well because they keep coming back. They do that push pull thing, you go all the way to the brink going, I'm out of here. There's no way I can take this anymore. And you might have even packed your bags. You might even be out of the door. Or it's a job situation and you think there's no way I'm taking this anymore. And you're gone and you might have even quit. Then they pull you back. They pull you back with all the promises, their charm, that smile, that charisma. And there they are again, recognizing this little lie, big lie, huge lie, all these little lies that that come up together, the hoovering, the love bombing. It will liberate you so hard, so much from the chains, the false promises, the breadcrumbing. All of those things are just names for the same thing, really, in a way, which is the false promises that they don't ever plan to follow through on. They don't follow through on their promises ever. It's just words that fall, blah, 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 that come out of their mouth. It's that Charlie Brown thing. They don't follow through. I have a whole video on this. This one word changes everything. How do you know if somebody truly is a narcissist? One word changes everything. And that will empower you to forge your own path. Lie number one that you say to yourself, they'll change. Lie number two is, I can't survive without them. This is a tough one because it comes into trauma bonding. There's a lot that goes into this. And there's that dopamine hit that goes off in your brain. And that dopamine is that hormone of addiction. You want so much that pleasure back. And so when that's going off in your brain, especially when the love bombing is happening and they're telling you that you're the most beautiful, the soulmate, the person that they've never met before, and they're sweeping you off your feet and it's all amazing, right? Believe me when I say to you that you possess an inner strength that you don't even know exists, and a resilience beyond measure, and you're more capable of the surviving and thriving beyond anything that you know that you are. And you can be independent. When you leave, that net will appear and people will come out of the woodwork to help you, and it will be there for you, and you will be liberated, and you will be liberated from the suffocating grasp of this toxic person that you're in the midst of now. You can survive without this person. I know it doesn't feel like it now, maybe sometimes, but you can. The next one is, it's my fault. They make you believe that it's your fault. They tell you that it's your fault and they make everything out to be your fault. It's your fault that they're not doing well at work. It's your fault that the finances aren't going well. It's your fault that your life is a mess. Then you can't think straight after a while. Your brain starts not going well. Your body is aching after a while, and they start deflecting blame onto everything onto you, fostering feelings of guilt and self-doubt, and you have to recognize that everything is not your fault. They have to take responsibility for their actions, and it has to be a reflection of their shortcomings. It's not a reflection of your worth. You are responsible for your behavior. They're responsible for their behavior, and you're responsible for your triggers, and they're responsible for their triggers, and everybody's responsible for their own selves. And once you understand that, then you can move forward. And that's what highly functional, healthy adults do. Don't take on guilt from other people that doesn't belong to you. You can put that down. The next lie is, they love me. And this is a tough one because maybe they love you in their own way, but it's not a true kind of a love, okay? Because really, they're not capable of love. They love themselves in a way, but they don't even really love themselves. They kind of hate themselves. They're not capable of love. They're not capable of care. And so they can't really love you. It's not personal. It's a result of trauma that happened to them as children. It's a result of damage that happened to them, to their limbic brain, the limbic system part of their brain during childhood. While you can have empathy for that, it's not your responsibility. It's not your fault, and you can't take it personally. You deserve to be treated with honor and dignity and respect, and to be valued and have self-worth, to be able to assert yourself and to assert your needs, and to have somebody meet those needs. Then you can meet that other person's needs, and that's what a healthy relationship looks like. And by challenging this lie, then you can start to see what that looks like, and then you can start to have a journey into reclaiming your self-worth. Another lie is that maybe you somehow deserve to be treated in a certain way, that you deserve the way that they're treating you. I deserve this treatment. I mean, maybe you feel like, oh, I didn't do a good enough job. I didn't meet their expectations. I didn't meet their needs. I fell short of being a good enough partner, wife, mother, business associate. What's negotiable are contracts, issues, and terms. And what's never negotiable is your self-worth, your self-esteem, and who you are. Nobody is deserving of emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. Your self-worth is inherent to who you are as a human. You deserve to be treated with dignity. You deserve to be treated with respect. You can distinguish between what true respect and honor looks like. The next lie is that they're the victim. They love to shift things around, especially covert narcissists, to make it look like they are somehow the victim, that somehow you are the one who are perpetrating something upon them. You interrupted them, that you didn't do something that you were supposed to, you didn't bring things up at the right time, that you are cold, calculating. They want to evade accountability for their actions. And so they'll make it seem like you're the one who's deceptive. You're the one who's not trustworthy. You're the one who didn't put their needs first. They'll make it seem like they're the victims in this whole thing because they want to project and deflect and lie and deny. Crucial that you see through that. Again, prioritize your well-being and really know what the truth is of what's going on. The next one is that you're powerless. They try to make you feel like you're powerless. They make you feel like they're all powerful. They make you feel like if you ever leave, if you ever try to do something, that they're going to come after you, that you're not going to be able to have anything, that they have everybody lined up against you. Can't tell you how many times I've heard that kind of thing. But the truth is, you have plenty of power. They're never as powerful as everybody thinks that they are. Never, never, never. The truth of the matter is they're way more afraid of you than you are of them. It's absolutely the case. You have the power to decide your outcome and chart your own course. The next lie is that you're never going to find anybody else. This is specific for people who are looking for somebody else. They tell you this lie like, oh, you're so lucky that you have me. No one else wants you, not even your family. And they perpetuate these lies because they want you to be dependent upon them. They're afraid that you're going to leave. And so they want you to be overly dependent upon them because they don't want to be alone. They want you to only trust them, to have all of your self-worth wrapped up in them. The next one is that you can fix them. I can fix them. I can stay because I can help them. I can fix them. I can make them better. I can help them with their trauma. These people need to want help. They're going to drown and you're going to end up drowning with them. It just perpetuates a cycle of abuse. They're going underwater and you're going under with them. And it just ends up making you drained is what that ends up doing. And it ends up enabling their behavior because you teach people how to treat you. And so the more that you try to set boundaries and then they don't end up respecting them and then you let it go and then it happens over and over and over again, the more that they just know that you're going to stay and they don't have to respect your boundaries and then they can treat you however they want. So it's essential that you prioritize your well-being and your boundaries and you set your priorities and decide what your self-worth is going to be and protect yourself. The next one is that they're just misunderstood. I'm the only one that understands them. I get them. I see who they truly are. They're really actually a good person. They act like they're not good people, but I understand them. They're good people. They're just misunderstood. It's so common for people to misunderstand that they're like, oh, they're actually really good people underneath all of this, and attribute like their behavior to trauma. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people who've been married for 30 years who think, the reason why that they had been staying for so long is because their trauma, and that they really understood I was helping them and that I stayed because of that. They basically have held you captive all of these years by through these promises of I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna do the thing, and I'm gonna do the work, and it's 6 months away, and now it's a year away, and now it's 2 years away. While understanding the root causes of their behavior can be beneficial, it's never really an answer because it doesn't get you to where you want to be, right? You actually have to see progress. You actually have to see them fulfilling on the promises that they're making you. And that's the part that you don't actually see happening. So this is where you have to see them follow through on their promises and actually get help and do the things that they say they're going to do, which is things that they don't do. Before we continue, make sure you hit that subscribe button and become part of our empowering community. And if you need phrases for disarming narcissists, make sure you grab mine at disarmthenarc.com. They're phrases for invaluable strategies for disarming narcissists and reclaiming your power. So make sure you do that too. And join my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. So the next lie is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Thinking like I'm not good enough, so there's no point in me leaving, or I'm not smart enough to like do anything else. They get you thinking like that you can't do anything without them. You can't make decisions without them. And the next one is actually pretty similar, which is they know what's best for me. So I'm not good enough and they know what's best for me, or they undermine your self-worth and instill these feelings of inadequacy, like that they're the smartest ones, that they know everything. And I've been in these client meetings where they're like, oh, he knows everything or she knows everything, where they think that they're God. People think that they're God. Trust your instincts. They're not. Know that you have self-worth. You're probably a whole lot smarter than you think you are. The next one is that if you do decide to break up with them, that you can work this out in a collaborative approach so that you can work through things, because you can't. That they're going to somehow not lie to you, that they're somehow going to work on your behalf for you, because they're not going to. If they were lying to you before, they're going to continue to lie for you. Everything is a manipulation. Just remember that. Just know that it's their fear of being alone that is continuously manipulating you. They want to control you. You have actually way more power in this relationship than you realize that you do. I have helped so many people get out of these relationships and into the lives that they want. And I want to help you too. And I've seen all the lies that narcissists tell, all of them. And I know the 8 worst lies that narcissists want you to believe. And I'm going to share them with you here in this video, and I'm going to go through them, the worst ones to the most heinous ones in this video. So watch all the way till the end here so that you can know what the worst ones are. Okay, so let's go through them now. The 8th worst one, we'll just go like 8th to first, right? Is I'm not really like this, right? That's one of the things that they'll say, I'm not really like this. Now, you know that they're actually really like that, right? And they'll often try to gaslight you by telling you that they're not normally like this. They'll have a tantrum, or they'll go crazy, or they'll treat people poorly, or they'll do things that are awful, and or they'll be doing things that are horrible for a while, or they'll be super depressed or whatever it is. They'll just say that they're going through a phase, that they're under a lot of stress, that it's somebody else's fault, that it's because of the things that they're going through at work, that they're acting crazy because of their ex or whatever it is. But they'll say that they're not really like this, especially if it's early on in the relationship, because they'll let you know that it's just something that they're dealing with right now. The truth is that they're very much like that. The truth is that they're actually way worse than what they're showing you most of the time, and that they're only revealing a little piece of the way that they really are. So that's the one of the lies that they want you to believe. The next one is that they'll let you know, one of the lies that they'll tell that they want you to believe, and this is a lie about you, is that you are the one that's overreacting. So that it's your behavior and not theirs. So this is a massive gaslight, by the way, massive gaslight. They'll say things like, you're overreacting when you haven't even raised your voice yet. I didn't mean to hurt you, or it's not a big deal. Stop making such a big deal out of things. Or, you're being oversensitive. Or, the truth is that their behavior is a big deal. The truth is that what they did was really horrible. They can be as awful as possible, and they'll say you're overreacting. They will have treated you in a heinous, horrible way, and you can be hurt and feeling horrible, and they'll say you're overreacting. You can have found text messages or photographs or seen them with other people or whatever, and they'll say you're overreacting. So those are the types of things that they will say, but that's a massive gaslight, basically erasing your feelings, telling you that the way that you feel is not okay. So that's a massive lie, another lie that narcissists want you to believe. The next lie that narcissists want you to believe is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. They are never sorry, and they always mean it. So it's a, faux apology. I call them narcissist faux apologies. They will usually not apologize for their behavior. But if they do apologize for their behavior, it's only because they're trying to manipulate you into something else. Remember, everything that a narcissist does is a manipulation. So if they do apologize, it's because they are trying to future fake you, they're trying to get you to do something. They're, not going to ever undo that behavior that they did. They will definitely do it again in the future. So whatever it is that they did, let's say they called you a name, they will definitely call you that name again in the future. Let's say that they, whatever it is that they did, they cheated on you, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. They will definitely cheat on you again. So, they interrupted you when you were talking. Oh, that was horrible. I shouldn't have interrupted you. They will definitely interrupt you again when you're talking. So their apologies are completely meaningless, and you should, definitely take them with a grain of salt, because it's a lie that they want you to believe that's just crap, right? Narcissists are liars. That's what they are. Okay. The next lie that they want you to believe is that it's all your fault. For example, they might get fired from work, or that they have poor performance at work, or something like that. They will want you to believe that that's all your fault because you were, giving them lots of stress. And because of so much stress at home, they can't perform at work, and therefore that's your fault because they're making lots and lots of mistakes at work or something like that. They aren't making the sales at work that they're supposed to be making. That's your fault. Anything that happens bad in their life, they'll say that it's your fault. They got super angry and did something that they weren't supposed to have done, hit walls, drove too fast, whatever, got a speeding ticket. That's your fault. They will cheat on you and say that was your fault. I ended up having to cheat on you because you weren't a good spouse. If you had been nicer to me, if you had been more attentive to me, I wouldn't have cheated on you. So therefore, that's your fault. That's a lie that narcissists want you to believe. The truth is, had they had more integrity, had they been a better person, they wouldn't have needed to cheat on you. If you had just done what I wanted, I wouldn't have had to hit you. That is, again, a lie they want you to believe. The truth is, their behavior is their fault. They need to take responsibility for their own behavior, just as you have to take responsibility for your own behavior. Okay? It's a lie that narcissists want you to believe. The next lie that narcissists want you to believe is that you are being too sensitive. Again, narcissists will invalidate your feelings. They will tell you that you are being too sensitive. And by the way, they are ridiculously oversensitive. I mean, you can say something that's completely innocuous, and they'll say that you slighted them in some way, that you had some crazy tone. And I always joke that narcissists hear tones like dogs hear whistles. Like, even if there's no tone, they hear tone. And you think, I didn't have anything with tone. They'll tell you that you were shouting and you didn't even shout. And they'll say, you're delusional, you were shouting. They'll start shouting at you and you'll say, please don't raise your voice. And they'll say, I was just matching your tone and you didn't shout ever at all. But, you can't ever shout. They'll tell you you're being too sensitive when they're the ones who are ridiculously sensitive. When they said something that was horrible to you, like you have a massively huge behind or something, and you'll say, please don't say that. And you'll say, oh, it was just a joke. Stop being so sensitive. It was just a joke. Ha 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 ha. They add like ha to the end of a sentence, and that's supposed to be funny. You can't take a joke. Come on. And I've actually heard teenage girls with their boyfriends say things like, oh, that's just a joke that we have between us. They'll actually, go along with it and say that it's okay. Don't do that. Don't say that it's okay. Don't gaslight yourself. Those are red flags. These are lies that narcissists want you to believe. If it's hurtful, then it's hurtful. It's not okay if you're being disrespected, okay? You're not being too sensitive. They are being hurtful. So don't allow your feelings to be invalidated. Jokes at your expense are not funny. When they say you're too sensitive, that's not true. Don't use jokes or things like that as an excuse to invalidate your feelings. And when they say things like, oh, my attempt at humor, I'm sorry for my attempt at humor or something like that. That's not an apology. That's not an apology. An apology is, I shouldn't have said that. That was disrespectful, period. So you're being too sensitive is a lie that narcissists want you to believe. If you agree with me, put liars in the comments right now. Liars. They are liars. These are lies that narcissists want you to believe, right? lies that narcissists want you to believe. All right. So the next lie that narcissists want you to believe is that you are imagining things. So huge. So huge. I actually had a client in my law practice watch her husband. She followed her husband with a woman all the way to a hotel, go into the hotel. They stayed in the hotel for a couple of hours. She sat in the car, watched her husband and the woman come out of the hotel, told the husband that she saw the woman and him go into the hotel, stay in the hotel, go out of the hotel. And then the husband said, "You're imagining things. That didn't happen. That they did go in there, but they didn't do anything in the hotel but talk." That's all they did was talk while they sat in the hotel room. And she said, okay, that she believed him. I'm telling you that that is a massive gaslight. And these are lies that narcissists want you to believe. You're imagining things that didn't happen. You're mistaken. I would never do that. The narcissist gaslights you into doubting your own reality. That's what they do. So, and when it happens over and over and over again, you start to believe these things. You start to believe that you're crazy. And I think that you have to just start remembering, you have to just start to push back on yourself and go, no, that is not true. That is, your reality is different than mine. We see things differently. That is not how it happened. That is not what I'm seeing. All right. So that is another common lie that narcissists want you to believe. You're imagining things. Another lie that narcissists want you to believe is it's not a big deal. It is not a big deal. The narcissist will try to downplay the severity of their hurtful behavior by telling you that things are not a big deal. They might say something like, it's not a big deal if I cheat on you because I love you. The other person didn't mean anything to me. You're the one that means everything to me. The other one, it was just sex. You are the one that I love. So it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal. And that's a lie that they want you to believe. Oh, you know what? It's not a big deal if, I made a big mistake at work. We lost some money. It's not a big deal because I can get it back. You know what? It is a big deal because it's an integrity issue. They get you to not focus on what is the problem. These are lies that they want you to believe. And they don't want you to see the truth. The truth is that their behavior is not acceptable. That's the truth. So it is a big deal. So these are lies that the narcissist wants you to believe. And the last one is the biggest one and the most important one here. And that is the final lie, the biggest, the hairiest, the scariest lie that the narcissist wants you to believe. And this is the one when you're trying to leave, you're trying to get out the door, you're trying to discard, you're trying to finally escape. Your hair is on fire. You're like in survival mode. It's like, let me get out of here. And that is, the narcissist will say, I'll change. I can change. You'll see. It will all be different. That is a massive lie. It is a future fake. They will promise. They will promise to do anything. They will promise to be better in the future. You'll see. I know I've been acting this way. You'll see the better version, and they'll be better for a little while, which tells you, by the way, that they know how they're supposed to be. They know how they're supposed to act. They know that their behavior is wrong, but it won't last. It'll only last for a little short period of time, and then it'll start to come back. They will never keep their promises. They will start acting the way that they were before, only it'll be worse. It'll end up being worse. and it will be, so much more heinous than it ever was in the past. The narcissists aren't capable of change, and it's going to end up being spiraling, spiraling, spiraling. So know that narcissists can't change. That is the worst lie of all. It's no secret that narcissists are pathological liars and that they're gaslighting all the time. And why do they do that? Because they have no sense of self. They don't feel any internal sense of value. So they have to suck all their value from the people and environment around them. And they do that by pathologically lying and doing things that they need to do in order to control people. And, they have all kinds of favorite control tactics and manipulation tactics. And if you want to know what their favorite manipulation and punishment tactics are, check out my video on the narcissist's favorite manipulation and punishment tactics. But there are many, too many to really encompass all in one video, which is why I have an entire channel devoted to this particular topic, which also is devoted to help give you step-by-step guidance on how to get out of these relationships. I've seen it so much in my law practice. I've had to deal with them in my personal life. They get narcissistic supply by anything that feeds their ego, which, could be anything that feeds anybody's ego, like compliments and respect and things like that. But most often where they get their supply is by the things that they do, by lying, manipulating, intimidating, making people feel afraid, gaslighting, smear campaigns, all of those things that they do. And lying is one of the things that they do because they don't want you to see what you think you're seeing, which is that this person is a liar, that this person is not who they say they are. So it's this constant game of smoke and mirrors to try to get you to not see what they don't want you to see, which is that inside they're a scared little creature that has no sense of self, that you are actually the stronger one. You are actually the one that has more power, that has more value from their perspective. I mean, all human beings have value, inherent value, but they don't feel it. And so they don't want you to feel it either. They are extremely petty. And they live in a world of scarcity, not abundance. And so lying is a way of life for them. Now, honestly, they lie about things that they don't even need to lie about, which is kind of crazy to me. And they also lie about things that aren't very easily verifiable sometimes. And then they tell you that you're not seeing what you're seeing, which is what gaslighting is. There are certain types of lies that they specifically say to you throughout your relationship. So these are kind of like the most common. I'm sure that there's a lot of others, but these are the most common. So the first one is, ironically and paradoxically, no one is more truthful than me. You're going to never find anyone who's more truthful, more honest, has more integrity than me. I always tell the truth. I always tell it like I see it. And they say it with such confidence that you believe them, at least early on. My dad used to say, whatever you say it with authority and people will believe you. And narcissists have taken that to an extreme. So they say things even though, you see their lips moving and you know that you've seen a text message or you've had a situation where you know that they're lying. Even if you specifically say, here's an email where you said this, it's very clear that you're lying. They'll say, no, that's not true. That's not how it went. That's not what's happening, which is a form of gaslighting, by the way. But the first thing that they will say is, no one is more truthful than I am. The second thing that they say is some form of, I love you, I care about you, I'm here for you. And if you want to know more about what a narcissist means when they say, I love you, and what they don't mean when they say, I love you, check out my video on what does a narcissist mean when they say, I love you. When they are saying, I love you, I care about you, I'm here for you, it's not that that's what they actually feel, because true narcissists have no ability, no capacity to feel anything for anyone else. They just lack that synapse. It's like missing from their makeup, from their brain. It's just broken and it can't be fixed. They cannot truly love another person. They cannot truly care about another person. And they certainly don't want to be there for anybody else. They only want what they can get out of you. And so they will say these things sometimes to get you to do what they want you to do, or think what they want you to think, or get off of whatever it is that you're on them about, just to, say what they need to say. Sometimes it's a form of future faking. And if you want to know more about future faking, you should definitely check out my video on that. But, they don't really love you. They're not really there for you, and they don't care about you. And you can tell that because their actions speak louder than words. Try getting sick and expecting a narcissist to actually care about you and be there for you. I mean, if you're lucky, they just don't feel anything. Most of the time, what they really do is they resent you. They resent the fact that you might want care or attention or something from them, because that means that you're not paying attention to them. And there's not enough to go around in their world, like they're very scarcity minded. So if you want something, that means they can't have it. The second thing is, I love you, I care about you, I'm there for you. The third one is, I'm sorry, or things will be different. And, I call it narcissist faux apologies. And if you want to know more about, what a faux apology is, check out my video on what a narcissist really is doing when they say, I'm sorry. But most of the time, narcissists really don't even say sorry. But if they do, it's definitely to manipulate you, to try to get something out of you. It might just be lip service, and because it's in front of somebody and they want the person, the third party, to see it. It may be just to shut you up. It may be kind of even more like a sarcastic apology. I'm sorry that I couldn't be better for you, or something like that, but they really don't mean it. There's never any real remorse for their actions. So when they say, I'm sorry, it's definitely a lie, unfortunately. And if you think that their lies are so sad and so pathetic, I want to see a so sad in the comments. Just drop that below. So sad. So the fourth lie that they often tell is, I promise. I promise I'll do better. I promise that I will be the most amazing spouse, husband, wife, business partner, mother, father, sister, brother, neighbor, whatever it is. Nobody is going to be better than me. I'm the best at whatever it is. So I promise that the way things are going to be are the most amazing things in the world. And again, this is a form of future faking. And it's basically a future that they know they're never going to make good on. They're never going to follow through with these promises. And they just want to say whatever they want to say just to get you to do what they want you to do at that moment, or feel the way they want you to feel right at that moment, which is that they're wonderful, you're the one who has the problem, or that, however, whatever it is that you have a problem with them right now about,
it's not going to be that way in the future. So just like, get off of it. Let's just deflect it, deny it, move on. So I promise. That's the fourth lie that you often hear from a narcissist. And the last common lie that you often hear from a narcissist is, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Or if I did, it was because somebody else had a problem. Somebody else didn't follow through on what they were supposed to do. It's your fault. I could have done it except for you getting in my way. But for whatever reason, it's not their fault.
What are 7 horrible lies that the narcissist is going to tell about you to their new supply? Number 1 is, "They took all my money and left me homeless. Boo hoo." Yep, that's what they're going to say. They stole all my money. And that's why I don't have any. They left me homeless and penniless. They love to play the victim for their new supply. And of course, that's why they're going to get their new supply to pay for everything for them. And, the old expression, nobody falls in love faster than a narcissist who needs a place to live. So they're going to get their new supply to pay for everything for them, move into their new supplies place, and the new supply is going to feel so sorry for them. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you had to go through all of that. Yes, I know. They took all my money, left me homeless and penniless. And they'll get into all this agreement about how horrible you were because you took everything from them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, oh my goodness, we hadn't had sex in forever because, they repulsed me. They're going to make it seem like sex hadn't been a thing in forever. And even if it's totally not true, they'll make it seem like there hadn't been a physical relationship in a really, really long time. They just make up lies about whatever your relationship was to make it seem like it was way worse than it actually was, because they want to make it seem like they are such a victim. They want their new source of supply to feel sorry for them and gang up on you. Because then, of course, if there are ongoing issues, especially with the children, if there are children involved, they want their new source of supply to help turn the children against you, to get involved. I can tell you, as an attorney, then the new sources of supply starts writing all the messages in our family wizard, starts getting involved, starts writing all the messages to the attorneys as well. It gets super, super messy, really, really annoying. I can tell you that, that's for sure. Number 3 is, I started to allude to this, they turned my children against me. So now what happens is, if the children are against this person, they're going to blame it on you. They're going to say that you are the one that alienated the children. You're the one that caused the problems with the children. That the reason why the children don't like this other person is because you caused it. It had nothing to do with them. It had nothing to do with the fact that they may be a bad person, or maybe they were a bad parent, or maybe they weren't good to you. And the kids saw that. It had all to do with the fact that you turned the children against them. All right, that's the next one. The next one is that I was never in love with him or her. And, this can be especially painful for you to hear. And let me just tell you, don't take that personally, because the narcissist never could love you anyway. And I have a video on why the narcissist hates you. And I would definitely watch that video, because the narcissist doesn't have the capacity to love anyone, including themselves. They hate everybody. So definitely check out that video. And don't take anything personally that the narcissist is saying about you, about them, about any of this. But this one can be especially painful to hear. So just take it with a grain of salt when this might come back to you. And by the way, if you've heard any of these so far, give me a totally in the comments, because you probably have. I'm sure you probably have. So give me a totally in the comments so far. The next one is, I wanted to commit suicide every day when I was with him or her. I mean, they get so dramatic. They thrive on this drama, so they'll say things like that. Oh my God, I was like in such a depression every day when I was with him or her. I wanted to commit suicide. I couldn't wait to escape when I was with him or her, please. I mean, like they act like every day was like in prison when they were with you. That's another one. Another one was, they'll make it sound like you were so jealous or possessive, because they want to make it sound like you were so in love with him or her, that you were clawing all over him or her all the time, and that you just couldn't live without this person, but they couldn't stand you. So you were super jealous and possessive. They never loved you. They were repulsed by you. You took all their money. They were victimized by you. They have this huge narrative about how jealous and possessive and in love with you, but yet, they were completely repulsed by you. So that's the next one. And then the last one is that you told lies about them to everyone. So whatever the narrative is that's going around about them, about how horrible they were, whether it was they were abusive or a horrible parent or whatever it is, all of it is a bunch of lies that you spread. It has nothing to do with the truth. Maybe it was that they didn't pay child support, or that they were a terrible provider, whatever it is that you might have said, they're alcoholic, or, all of it was a bunch of lies that you spread. It had nothing to do with reality. You caused it. They had no culpability, no responsibility in any of that. They were perfect. They were a perfect wife, perfect husband, perfect mother, father, whatever it was. You were just horrible. They have no idea why you were the way you were, because, obviously you were crazy or delusional and just caused all of this problem all on your own.
So let's talk about that narcissist's most dangerous lie. They lie about everything, right? Narcissists lie as a way of life. They lie about all kinds of stuff, including things that they don't need to lie about, which is kind of baffling to me. And they even lie about things that are readily verifiable, which is also kind of baffling to me. And if you want to know more about, specifically about narcissist lies, I would highly recommend that you check out my video called Narcissist's Most Common Lies. And I actually do have an accompanying podcast to that too. So for those of you who like to get your information in different kinds of mediums, I do have a podcast. It's on every single outlet where you can find podcasts, and it's called Negotiate Your Best Life. And you can check out that show on Narcissist's Most Common Lies there too. But going back to what the most dangerous lie is, it is not what you think. It's not like, what are they saying that's so dangerous? It's more how it lands for you. And that's why it's so dangerous. And that is the lie that you desperately want to believe. And the reason why that is so dangerous is because they are constantly packaging their lies in a way that you will believe, that you want to believe, that might be plausible, that seems real, that allows you to ignore those red flags that may be going up in your head. And if you want to know more about why people ignore narcissist red flags, I highly recommend you check out my video on that. Anyway, you will be getting these lies, and you're realizing something is off, and you see something, maybe you see a text message come through that doesn't seem right, and you confront them on it, and they have some plausible explanation for it. Or it might not even be all that plausible, but you're just like, you know what? I want to believe this person. I want to believe that my whole life is not a lie. I want to believe that this person actually loves me. I want to believe that I'm not in business with a shark, with somebody who is awful. I mean, they don't seem terrible all the time. Sometimes they seem good. And so you end up processing something in a way that ends up, maybe they get away with their lie because you want to believe it so desperately. And that can happen in a number of different ways. So one of the ways that they package their lies so that you will believe it, which becomes dangerous for you, is something called future faking. And what happens there is that they say, yeah, you know what, this happened, but in the future, here's what life is going to look like. So if it's in business, I'm going to start participating, I'm going to generate all these sales, I'm going to do all this stuff, I'm taking the lead on this particular effort, whatever it is. And then they don't ever do it, and that's future faking. But in that moment, you really, really want to believe it. Same thing if it's in a romantic relationship. You get that text message, or you see that thing happen, or they didn't show up for something, or they didn't do something they were supposed to. They didn't get you the birthday gift they were supposed to. They didn't take care of your kids the way they were supposed to, or blew off your mother, or whatever it is. And you call them out on it, and there you go having a conversation, which is, that's never going to happen again. Let's forget about the past. Let's just think about the future. Let's just take it from here forward, because from now on, you are going to feel appreciated. You will get everything you deserve. You are the best at everything. And whatever comes out of their mouth that they have to say in that moment for you to believe them. And, for a variety of reasons, sometimes you just want to believe them. So you do. And so more time goes by. And now you're investing more of your life and more of your time and more of your energy into this person. And the more you invest, the more you want it to work, the more you want to believe the lies. And if you just think that they are such liars, give me a liars in the comments. Okay, so the next reason why the way they package their lies is through gaslighting. And gaslighting is something that they use to try to make you think that you're crazy. And if you want to know more about gaslighting, check out my video on narcissists' favorite gaslighting techniques. But they use gaslighting to try to make you think that you're crazy. So, and I've mentioned this before, but I haven't mentioned it in a while, so I'll mention it again for those of you who don't know. It actually comes from this old movie called Gaslight, and I think it was even a play before that, and then it became a movie, and it was like from the 30s or 40s, where the husband was trying to make the wife think that she was crazy. So he would blow out these gas lights throughout the house, and she would say, "Wasn't that just lit?" And he would say, "No, it wasn't." And she would then, he was hoping that she would lose her mind. And that's what happens with narcissists. They start to gaslight you. They start to say things that are different than what was said before, or to try to make you believe that something happened that didn't happen, or something did happen that didn't happen, and they just rewrite reality. I had a client one time who the ex-wife, the narcissistic ex-wife, threatened to call the authorities on him if he picked up the child at a certain time or something, a time that he was entitled to pick up the child. But she said, if you do, I'm calling the authorities. So he emails her back and says, I really don't appreciate you threatening to call the cops on me, and this is exactly why I want this, this, and this done. And I want you to sign this agreement. Well, now she doesn't want to sign this agreement. She doesn't want to do these other things that he wants her to do. So she turns around to try to use it against him in a way and say, hey, I never said I was going to call the cops. I said I was going to call the authorities, which is something different. And you know darn well that when she said I'm calling the authorities, she meant the cops. But there's a perfect opportunity for her, or perfect example of gaslighting. So now she's saying that's not what I meant. And so, he's supposed to go, oh, what did you mean? I wasn't that? Oh, okay. And, and then now you're having a conversation about that. A perfect example of gaslighting. But there's a type of lie. Gaslighting is a type of lie that you might want to believe, where they're saying now something different than what they said before, but you want to believe it because you don't want to believe that you are so wrong. I mean, a lot of times we want to believe it because we don't want to have to admit that we've been in a relationship with someone who is so horrible to us, who's so untrustworthy, who's so dishonest. We don't want to have to believe that ourselves. We don't want to have to think, oh my gosh, how could I have been so stupid or whatever? But just remember that narcissists are master manipulators. They're very good at reading people. They're very good at figuring out what it is that you want in the beginning. So you can't beat yourself up over that. So that's the most dangerous lie. The most dangerous lie is the one that you want to believe. And when you were getting ready to negotiate with a narcissist in any situation, business or personal or divorce or whatever, there is also an example of a dangerous lie, because you might want to believe that they sincerely want to negotiate with you, that they sincerely want to settle the case, that they sincerely want to make it right and have it be something that's amicable, when they don't actually. When they are actually behind your back, stabbing your back, doing things to you, and then they say they're not. You want to believe that. And that's where it can be very, very dangerous as well.
Okay, so the first thing I want you to know is that they all love bomb, okay? So what this means is that they're lying to you right from the beginning, whether it's in a romantic relationship or a business relationship or whatever kind of a relationship. They want you to think that they're amazing or perfect right from the beginning. And I actually was in a business relationship with a narcissist, so I saw this myself actually. And so they want you to think they're charming and incredible right from the get-go. So they'll say things like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? I can't believe how perfect we are for each other, and we're made for each other. We just align so perfectly in our beliefs. So, those are the kinds of things that they'll tell right from the beginning. We're soulmates. We're made for each other. We're perfect for each other. So that's number one, the love bomb kind of lie. Number one. Number two is the future fake kind of lie. So the future fake kind of lie is, it's never going to happen again. So this is when they've been caught in a lie, they want to deflect, they want to project, they don't want you to be dwelling on their bad behavior, their past behavior. So they want a future fake. They want you to not look at whatever they've done. They want you to look to the future. So it's kind of a love bomb, but you've already been in the relationship. So they just don't want you to be looking at whatever it is that they've done. They just want you to just move on to whatever it is. They have no intention on keeping their promise at all, but they just want you to not think about whatever they've done in the past. So they'll say whatever they need to get you to not think about the past. It's kind of, love bomb 2.0. All right. The future fake is love bomb 2.0. So it's never going to happen again. You'll never see it again. Let's just move on, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's the next kind of lie that all narcissists tell. The next one is, you can trust me. I mean, they'll act like they're the most trustworthy people on the planet. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm a Girl Scout. I actually heard that those exact words come out of my former business partner's mouth. 100% those words. All right. That's number 3. Number 4 is the blame game. It's all your fault. It's all their fault. Someone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. This is the project and deflect. They can never take responsibility for any of their own actions. It's never anyone else's fault. Somehow they seem to think that if they shift the blame, that people won't see that it's their fault. I don't know. Number 5 is the gaslighting. The gaslighting, you're too sensitive, or I never said that. I definitely saw that in the business relationship that I was in. We talked about that. Don't you remember? That sort of thing. That's the next kind of lie that all narcissists tell, is the gaslighting lie. The next kind of lie that you hear all narcissists tell is the no one else thinks that, or everyone else thinks that, the kind of lie that they try to do to try to isolate you from everyone else to make you feel really, really bad. If you want to know more about this kind of lie, go check out my video on the narcissist's favorite catchphrases. Definitely a whole lot more in that particular video, and you'll get to hear more about that sort of thing. And if you agree with me so far, if this sounds super familiar, give me an amen in the comments below, because this is sounding really familiar so far, right? The next one is the I'll change, I'm different now. You've heard that one before too. Don't fall for it. Definitely not true. Narcissists really can't change. They don't really have the ability to change. I mean, some do. It's pretty rare. So I wouldn't sit around and hold out hope that that can definitely happen, because it's probably not going to happen. So that's number 7, is the big lie. Narcissists really can't change. The next one, the last one, is usually about their exes. The ex was obsessed with me, or their ex was super crazy. There's usually some kind of lie around their exes. I would be really, really careful when they're saying things about their exes, either that they were obsessed with them or that they're super crazy in some way. Maybe some kind of red flag around that. Maybe they actually were crazy or obsessed with them, but maybe not. So I don't know. I'm wondering what you guys think about this list so far. If you agree with me, or if there's any other, lies that you guys have seen. I'm sure that there's so many more, but this is how we catch them in these lies, right? This is how we use this to create leverage, by the way. How can you know that they're lying right away? Remember that we are wanting to make sure that we give you all the knowledge that you can. Knowledge is power. It helps us to grow stronger and protects us against any kind of situations where somebody is being dishonest with us, but especially when somebody is a narcissist or a toxic personality, a high conflict personality, whether you're dealing with it in a professional situation, a personal situation, you want to grow stronger. You want to have that information. You want to be able to recognize those patterns, right? So let's jump right into the 8 comments that reveal a narcissist dishonesty. All right. So the very first one are self-praising comments. Narcissists often use comments to praise themselves, to seek validation, to seek admiration from others. So these often reveal their deep need for constant affirmation and their beliefs that they are superior to other people. So they might say things like, wow, I'm just so great. And they might even say, haha, just kidding. But they aren't really, just kidding. And they might say things like this in a way that it makes it appear like they're sort of just not really being serious, but they are sort of being serious. They're trying to get people to notice them, where they're trying to get people to compliment them. They use comments to excessively praise themselves and seek validation and admiration from others. The second one is the deflecting comment, where they are avoiding taking responsibility for their actions by directing the focus onto others or external factors. So they're refusing to acknowledge their mistakes and instead blaming others to protect their fragile egos. So this might look like or show up like, I failed the project because my team members didn't support me. It's their fault, not mine. Or I wouldn't have lied to you, but you pushed me into a corner with your questions. It was your fault that I had to do what I had to do, not taking responsibility for their own actions. That's number 2. The next one is the gaslighter comment, the gaslighting comment. This is a person who is constantly manipulating others by denying or distorting reality, trying to make the other person feel like they're crazy by saying things that distort reality, either completely distorting reality by just flat out lying about what happened, or making them doubt their own perceptions of reality. We talked about that and you agreed to it. Don't you remember? And you know that conversation never took place. Or they might twist what actually happened or twist the truth, try to create confusion. This is all trying to destabilize the person, or just trying to project and deflect. You're overreacting. I never said that. You're too sensitive. You're misunderstanding. You're just being paranoid. I could go on and on, but you get the idea. So that's the next comment that reveals a narcissist dishonesty. If I'm on point so far, give me a true that in the comments below. I know you guys have seen some of these so far. The next one is the invalidating comment. The way this shows up is a narcissist who undermines other people's feelings or experiences by to maintain control and diminish their self-esteem. They invalidate the emotions of others because they cannot empathize with them. They either can't process it, or they don't want to have to deal with it. They don't have the patience for it, or they just can't. So they just say, you're making too much of it. You're making too much of a big deal about it. You're too sensitive. You're overly dramatic. It's not that serious, that sort of thing. So they just completely invalidate what the other person is saying. That's the invalidating comment. So, and by the way, if you are dealing with something like that, where your feelings just aren't heard, that is so painful. That's where you really need to have the support system around you. If you don't have a support system, if you feel isolated, if you feel like you don't have other people around you who understand what it is that you're dealing with, or even if you do but you want to connect with more people, I definitely suggest that you come join my free private Facebook group, Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung. Come join us. There's a lot of people in there who are having discussions every single day. And also, if you need access to therapy and you don't have it, I have a sponsor on this channel, which is BetterHelp, and you can access that through betterhelp.com/Rebecca Zung. It is a sponsor for me, which means that we receive commissions on it. It doesn't cost you any extra. It's access to help and support that you can trust. The next one is the passive aggressive comment. I think passive aggressiveness is like one of the worst ones. It's so cowardly. You see this a lot of times from covert narcissists. Covert narcissists are just like the worst ones in some ways to me. There's very indirect, sarcastic comments. It's a way to express hostility without appearing overly aggressive. So they kind of provoke you and revel in power in a way. It's like a little jab way to manipulate you covertly. It's sort of like, oh, it must be nice to have all this time in the world to waste. I wish I had time to just work on things all day. Do whatever you'd like. I'll just clean up after you. It's so very, very passive aggressive. They're not honest about the fact that they don't really like you or they don't support you. So that's number 5. Number 6 is the attention seeking comment. They're trying to get attention from you or from others. And so they feel like they want to be the source of attention and they will do anything they can to get back into that spot. Like, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. Oh, it's always about me. Oh, I'm feeling so down today. They posted on Facebook and I've been sick for so long. I can't believe everybody is talking about me still. They act like they don't want everybody to be talking about them, but obviously they're posting it all over social media. And so obviously they do want people to be talking about them. It's like they're trying to get the attention of people on this sort of thing. All right. So that's number 6. And then number 7 is the victim card comment. Especially covert narcissists, they love to play that victim because they want people to support them and they love to use this tactic to avoid accountability and gain further control over others. Nobody really cares about me. Oh, everybody's here to get me. I just always get the short end of the stick. Oh, don't worry about me. I'll just sit over here. I don't mind being alone. Or, the world is conspiring against me. That's number 7. Number 8 is the entitlement comment. All narcissists feel like they are entitled. So they believe that they deserve special attention, special treatment, special privileges. They express it in their comments, feel entitled, and they should have unwavering admiration, unwavering support from everyone around them. Why am I not getting the special treatment? Why aren't my kids paying for my flight? They should be paying for my flight to come for the holidays. Why should I have to pay for myself? I deserve the best of everything. I'm exceptional. I'm unique. Basically, I deserve the best. People should pander to me kind of an attitude. That's the entitlement comment. So if you're dealing with a covert narcissist, they use this secret weapon against you to make you think that you're crazy. Well, covert narcissists are incredibly convincing. They're incredibly convincing. I think they're the most dangerous type of narcissist. Okay. I think they're the most dangerous because they are so convincing. They're the ones out there looking like the most normal. Other types of narcissists, grandiose narcissists, are out there telling everybody how amazing they are, how great they are, how wonderful they are. They're the ones out there that go in restaurants or go into a room and say, I did this and I did that, and look at my accomplishments and look how amazing I am. Covert narcissists don't do that. Covert narcissists say, oh, I don't want attention. I hate attention, even though they do want attention, even though they do want the world to think that they're wonderful and all of that. And so they do have this deep need, wanting, the world to think that they're amazing. And the reason why they are incredibly convincing in a lot of ways is that they also believe their own made up reality of themselves. They've also almost kind of convinced themselves that they are honest and trustworthy and loyal and considerate. And they genuinely believe a lot of that, even as they're gaslighting people and as they're taking advantage of people and as they're doing these things, victimizing people. And that's part of the reason why they're so insidious and very, very stealth, and they present very well, and they put themselves in positions where they are often clergy or doctors or lawyers, or they're the first ones to show up when somebody is sick, or the first ones to take care, but only if it's opportunistic, only if there's going to be an audience, only if it's the right type of audience, only if the scenario presents itself to be the right one. They have to appear in the right way. And they're masters at orchestrating situations, a lot of times, where they can pit people against each other, where they can dig deep wells where it looks like they are the good person and the other person is bad, or they set themselves up so that they're calm and the other person is crazy. So here they are, the rational one, and the other person is out of control, sobbing or screaming, and they're just, I don't know what happened there, officer, while the onlookers are, oh my goodness, I look at that, so, they can be the ones who are, I tried for years to get the person help, or I tried for years to do all that I could. And they come off as the likable one. They come off as the calm one. They come off as the charming one in marriage counseling, or, to the therapists, as the much more rational and calm one. And they can get everyone to believe that that's what's going on. They're masters at smear campaigns and at planting seeds, starting the planting of seeds. Oh, I'm so concerned about, how much they had to drink that night. I just, I'm just really concerned about that situation. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay. Oh, my heart. It's like that. And just lining up the flying monkeys and just starting to groom. And so those are the kinds of things that they'll do. And they start to weave. They start to weave and lead people down these paths. And people are just unaware of what they're doing. They're just unaware of what's happening because they're so good at doing these things and just remaining calm. And so their real secret weapon, and that's what I'm leading to here, is that they are masters, absolute masters of plausible deniability. And what I mean by that is sabotaging and undermining in very, very subtle, insidious ways, but then being able to just look very, very innocent and saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. And, so for example, something could be like, I only said something about, I knew somebody said something about their child's birthday or something, and realizing that it was before a date that was something that was going to be inflammatory to something else, and then they putting dates together that are, is going to upset something to somebody else, and then the other person realizes that that's upsetting to this other person, and then they know that it's going to be upsetting to this other person, but then they go, oh, I didn't realize that I said that date and that was going to be upsetting to you. And then the other person, goes, oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize, and they just play it off as if they didn't realize that date was going to be upsetting. I had no idea. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. I didn't realize, that sort of thing. They'll make a dish and give it to the other person, and the dish has something in it that the person is allergic to, like cashews. And then the other person gets an allergic reaction from it. And then they say, I didn't realize it had cashews in it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Oh, God, I didn't realize that. They did realize that, but they play it off like they didn't know. Plausible deniability. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that when I was going to do something on your computer that was going to delete that off of your computer and off your calendar. So I'm so stupid. That sort of thing. And they do know that when they were going to do that it was going to delete it off your calendar. Plausible deniability. Plausible deniability, undermining you, but acting like I didn't know that was going to happen, to avoid taking responsibility, to avoid. But everybody else, when you tell that story, everybody else goes, well, I'm sure that was inadvertent because they're so nice, because they're such a good person. I'm sure that couldn't have been on purpose. Oh, you're making too much of it. That sort of thing. When you try to tell other people, I think you're just making too much. And then when they're telling other people, they go, I was just trying to be helpful. I was just trying to be nice. Gosh, they really think that I would try to make them sick on purpose? That's just so crazy, that sort of thing. And sometimes I do believe they really believe their stuff. Like, they really think that I would be that horrible of a person, and they start to even believe their own lies. Sometimes it actually is like that crazy making. And so I believe that the worst secret weapon that they have is this plausible deniability, where they actually start to make you think that you're absolutely crazy, and the world cannot see it. The world cannot see it at all. And you are just, over time, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. And it's like not so bad that you just feel like you can go to the world and go, look, this person's beating me, or this person's cheating on me, or this person is that bad. It's these little tiny things over the years that just add up, add up, where you're just sucks at your soul over time, and it drains the life out of you over time. And so that's why I think it's just so insidious and so horrible. And they have this way also of sort of this double language and this double, like saying things, these like kind of things that almost look like compliments, but they're not actually compliments. And it's very, very insidious the way covert narcissists work on you and work on your brain. And they're extremely, extremely toxic and extremely, extremely poisonous. Let's jump into it. 6 top lies all narcissists want you to believe. They think you're buying this stuff, right? They think you're buying it because they're so charming and they're so charismatic and they come on with their love bombing and they come on with their thing and they've got their lines and their stealth and their manipulation. They think that you're buying this stuff right from the beginning. You know, we do. We do. I fell for it too. I did too. You know why? Because they're that good. You know, they start grooming, they start figuring this stuff out at an early age. You know how that book, The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, where he talks about it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something, to become really good at something. You know what 10,000 hours is? It's like 4 years. I mean, it's not like that long. Narcissists have been working on figuring out their craft since they were kids. This is survival for them. So they know how to read people. They're very good at this. But once you're onto them, you're onto them. So don't worry about that. I got you covered. And by the way, if you are negotiating with narcissists, you definitely want to grab my free Crush My Negotiation Prep Worksheet, free 15-page ebook at crushmydeal.com. Make sure you grab that, crushmydeal.com. I've had many thousands of people win their entire negotiations just on that, crushmydeal.com. Go grab that. So, number one top lie that all narcissists want you to believe: you can be vulnerable with me. You can share all your inner secrets with me. Tell me all your innermost secrets. Yeah, you can share them all with me. And guess what? Guess when you're going to hear them again? When they want to hurt you, you will be hearing them absolutely again. They're going to shift it all around. They're going to use them against you in court. They're going to use them against you in negotiations. They're going to tell whoever they want. They're going to throw them back in your face. They're going to say, you can't even do this. You can't even do that. You're so weak. You're this, you're that. Oh, 100%. I mean, because they have no conscience. That's the problem with you. You can be vulnerable with me. It's so sick and sad. That's what they'll do. Other people are like, I would never. I mean, I know I would never. I would never use somebody's most awful things against them. It wouldn't even occur to me. It would actually make me nauseous to even think about that. But they would do it. You don't even think about it. They do. I've seen it all the time in court. Oh my gosh. I've seen malignant narcissists turn around and actually file false pleadings against people, accuse people of being child molesters if they haven't been, accuse people of being wife beaters, child beaters, all sorts of things. They don't care sometimes, depending on the level of narcissism. They don't care. You can be vulnerable with me. That's one of the lies that narcissists will tell you. They want you to believe. Number two, you can count on me. Oh, yeah, sure. Narcissists hate you needing them. That's like the last thing they want, is for you to like actually want to count on them. They don't want to have to be there for you. They don't want you to like be sick around them. They don't want you to need them in any way, shape, or form. Because when you go back for some withdrawals on your deposits, you just doing things for them is just payment for being in their space. If you want anything back in return, then the payment is high. It may be like 1,000-fold for the most minuscule scrap. And then you'll hear about it for years on end that they actually did something for you. I mean, please. Yeah, you can count on me. Number three, everything. One of the lies that they tell. We're going through the lies that all narcissists want you to believe. They want you to believe that everything in their life is your fault or your problem. All their problems or all the things that go wrong, all the failures, everything that bad that ever happened in the house or at the office or wherever it is that you have them in your environment or whatever is your fault. Everything is your fault. That's number three. They project and deflect. They lie and deny. That is the number one agenda. Project and deflect, lie and deny. The four top agendas, depending on how you want to look at that. But it's just not them. And if you've seen any of these things so far, give me a totally in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys think. Give me a totally in the comments if you guys have seen any of these things so far. Number four of the top lies all narcissists want you to believe is I will change or I have changed. You're going to see everything is different. You know, this is the big old future fake. This is whether you're dealing with them at work or in a marriage or a relationship. You catch them in a situation or, you know, something happens and you go to marriage counseling, then everything is going to be different now, that sort of thing. I've changed, I will change, everything is different. I feel like it's almost like they're holding their breath, holding on tight for a period of time because it's like, how long do I have to engage in this charade until I can go back to being my normal self and let out my breath? And then once they do, hell hath no fury because they go right back to being the way they used to be and then worse because sometimes they want to make you pay. They're angry, resentful, and upset that you made them do these things that they didn't want to do in the first place. It's not even worth the I've changed, I will change little phase a lot of the time. So that's number four. Number five lie all narcissists tell, they want you to believe is I would never lie. I would never lie. I cannot tell a lie. I'm the most truthful person you would ever meet. I have so much integrity. I would never lie. I tell the truth all the time. This is the person who tells the most lies of all people, constantly are catching them in lies. And, you know, the truth bears out. It bears out very quickly. You can tell if a person is a person of their word by how they behave, how they conduct themselves. Are they following through with what they say they're going to do? How does that happen? Did they say they were going to do something and then actually go through with it? You know, and you'll see, right? So that's number five. And most of the time they don't. And that's when that becomes your leverage, by the way. That's a big piece of your leverage, which is a good thing. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, they lied and I hated that and they got away with it. How are they getting away with this? But they don't get away with it because becomes your leverage. Every time I would see a narcissist lying, I'd be thinking, thank you. I get to use this against you now. Okay, so that's number five. Number six, no one loves you like I do. No one loves you like I do. This is such a huge lie. And they do this a lot of times to isolate you from family, to isolate you from friends. They don't want you to have other people in their lives. So they're jealous. They get upset. If you spend time with other people, they become resentful a lot of times, raging. If you spend time with other people, sometimes they even have tantrums if you spend time with other people, and it can be quite upsetting. Sometimes you even have to make choices.